This morning, the president said at some point there will be an Obamacare repeal and replace. This afternoon, the top Republican in the Senate effectively said it will not be anytime soon. Chief congressional correspondent Mike Emanuel is live on Capitol Hill tonight with the latest. Good evening, Mike.
Well, Brett, good evening. The Graham-Cassidy health care reform bill will not come up for a vote in the Senate this week, but those fighting for this legislation insist it is not over yet.
We've made the decision, since we don't have the votes, we will postpone that vote. Okay? Am I disappointed? Absolutely.
Well, it took 18 months to pass Obamacare. It's going to take a while to repeal it, but here's what I want you to know. There are 50 votes for the substance. There are not 50 votes for the process.
Senators Susan Collins of Maine, Ted Cruz of Texas, John McCain of Arizona, and Kentucky's Rand Paul all said they were a no on Graham-Cassidy as of today. Republican leaders could only afford 2 GOP defections. President Trump was clearly frustrated.
At some point, there will be a repeal and replace, but we'll see whether or not that point is now or will it be shortly thereafter. But we are disappointed in certain so-called Republicans.
Now it is back to the drawing board for Senate Republican leadership, and the focus shifts to another huge agenda item.
We plan to move forward on our next priority, which is reforming the American tax code in a significant way for the first time in 30 years.
Democrats are calling for a return to the Republican Senator Lamar Alexander and Democrat Senator Patty Murray bipartisan talks. They were working on some steps that could be taken to help stabilize the insurance markets. But Alexander called off the talks last week, saying they could not reach consensus. The Senate Democratic leader says it isn't over yet.
Today, Americans breathe a sigh of relief because the health care of millions has been protected and preserved. We Democrats believe this is not a day for celebration, but a day to roll up our sleeves and work to make the health care system better.
Schumer praised Democrat unity. Democrats stuck together on this one. Republicans avoided another high-profile health care reform disaster on the Senate floor. Brett?
Mike, shortly after that news broke, there was this other bombshell, a high-profile Senate GOP retirement.
That's right. The Senate Foreign Relations Chairman Bob Corker of Tennessee has announced he will not seek a third term. He will retire after next year. We caught up with Corker late today.
Serving in the Senate for 2 terms is what has allowed me to be the independent voice that sometimes says things that shock you guys, and you know, I just felt like I was moving into sort of a career politician mode, thinking about third term, and just wasn't me.
A number of Republican sources say they are not terribly surprised by this announcement, saying they felt like Corker has had enough here on Capitol Hill. Brett?
That is big news. Mike Emanuel live on the Hill. Mike, thanks.